And I say to him, you've probably heard the discussion rage in the fellowship about when to do a 4-step. And you're going to hear people say things like, don't do a 4-step too soon, you may drink. I've never seen that. I've seen several thousand way too late. You wouldn't want to get well too fast. Someone pointed out to me the other day, the only thing any alcoholic has ever done in moderation is the 12 steps. And the sponsors are laughing at that one, I'll tell you. And I hear people say do 1 step a year, but they can't tell me what page that's on. I've only found 2 things that will treat my own alcoholism. One is drinking alcohol or taking an alcohol substitute. That's one. And the other is the spiritual awakening process through the 12 steps. Haven't seen anything else that works on it. So I think we need to keep moving. The book is not specific about when to do a 4-step. It actually makes 2 time references. And as much as I hate to, I've got to give what the book gives. So if the book's going to give 2 time references, I'm going to let him use either of those 2 or anything that lies between. And I tell him that, and we're going to begin reading at the bottom of 63. He reads next. I say, whoa, that's a time reference. So next, you just finished the prayer, next. We launched on a course of vigorous action. The first step is personal house cleaning. Many of us had never attempted. Our decision, that's that 3rd step, decision we did at the bottom of page 62, was vital. Vital is from the Latin word vita, meaning life. So vital is either life-giving or necessary to life. Decision was vital and crucial step. We have little permanent effect unless at once. Aha, that's a time reference. So the 4th step is either started next or at once or anywhere in between. I give him all the leeway that the book gives. I think it's important. Followed by a strenuous, that means I'm pumping energy into it, effort to face and be rid. Isn't that interesting? Be rid. They're going to use the phrase be rid twice on this page in step 4. I'd like to observe. In step 4, if all I do is write, I'll be rid of ink, paper, and time. Being rid of the things in ourselves which have been blocking us. Ink, paper, and time are not blocking me. It's the first indication there are things other than writing involved in step 4. Our liquor is but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Therefore, we start our personal inventory, step 4. A business takes no regular inventory, usually goes broke. Most of the businesses I've ever dealt with do a computer inventory each night. They do some sort of a nightly update, which for me is the evening portion of step 11. But once a year, sometimes more often, but once a year, they do a full teardown inventory. I am currently in step 4 myself, under the guide of a spiritual advisor in another state. And it's in a way I haven't done it before. And I find that fascinating. In 31 years of recovery, I have done, I think, about 24 4-steps. So I'm a little bit behind the power curve, but I think once a year for a full tear-down house cleaning. Most of them take less than an hour now. This first one did not. First couple didn't. But after a while, as you stay current on some of this other stuff, I think this is the reference to me. There is a school in AA that believes you do the first 9 steps once, you stay sober on the last 3. And they have a name for those last 3, and that's their name, it's not mine. And I so respect some of the people that go that way. That's not my experience. I love them dearly, and I think what they're doing is working for them, and I'm cheering for them. That's just not the approach that I take. Taking a commercial inventory is fact-finding, fact-facing process to discover the truth about the stock and trade. One object to disclose damaged or unsaleable goods to get rid of. Once again, getting rid of. Did the same thing with our lives. We searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. There's the good news again. I'm the problem. Being convinced itself manifests in various ways was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestation. This is what I'm going to give you now as an overview of how I see these next few pages in the text, is what they say to me. It is a series of lists, observations, or considerations. I use those words interchangeably, and prayers that cover 3 specific aspects of self, which are resentment, fear, and sexual misconduct. That's what the 4-step looks like to me. Lists, observations, and prayers that cover resentment, fear, and sexual misconduct. That's an overview of how I see it today. And I may see it differently when this fellow finishes with it. I don't know. But that's what I get out of this. So what I'm going to do is to start look for directions. We're going to find about 26. And we're going to do them about approximately 1 at a time. Strange way to approach something. Very strange to do it, rather than do it all at once, which is what I tried to do with the first time I did an alleged 4-step. But to do one little piece at a time, and to do that piece until it's complete, or as complete as we can get it, and then we'll find the next one and do the same thing with it, which makes the 4-step probably the easiest step we got. It's kind of long. It's real easy. If you've never done a 4-step, I'm going to tell you the two hardest things in recovery, in my experience, are thinking about doing a 4-step and thinking about doing a 9-step. Actually, doing those steps is not difficult, but thinking about them will crush you. If you will stop thinking about them, you'll be out from under the hardest things we got. So we're going to, and something else too on these steps, wherever you are in the steps. My experience has been that as I do a step, my God gets bigger. I do the next step and my God gets a little bigger. And if you're new and you're looking at step 9 saying you can't make amends, you can't. Don't. But as you go through this process, I think you'll have the experience. See how many people are nodding their heads? As you go through this process, your God will get bigger. And when you get to step 8, your God will be big enough for you to make the list and to give you the willingness. And when you get to step 9, he'll be big enough to go with you and you'll be able to do some astounding things. I'm hoping to get to that. Wow. So we're going to continue to start looking for directions. I'm at the bottom of 64. Resentment's the number one offender. It destroys. That's kind of an interesting word. We just killed you. We're going to do it a lot. More alcoholics than anything else from it stem all forms of spiritual disease. We've been not only mentally and physically ill, but spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper. For me, that is a very general description. They're going to tell me exactly, precisely how to set them on paper. It says, we listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we are angry. A list is a series of words and phrases that run down a page. I don't think I've ever seen a list that ran across a page. So now I know what the first direction looks like. It is a list. I'm now going to ask my new guy to erase the word resentment from his mind. We have not asked him to list his resentments. That is not what we asked for. We listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we were angry. I want a list of everyone you have ever been angry with, ever, even if you're certain you have forgiven them. Even if you're certain. And you're thinking, that's a long list? I say, yep, it is. It's a long list. We knew that. Now, and I say to them, you're probably wondering what color ink you should use and what color paper. You're wondering that? About half of them say, yeah. Obama 67 says we place them before us in black and white. Now, that's not very specific. That doesn't say black ink and white paper. That could easily be black paper and white ink. I've had 4 of them so far. Go to the art store and get black paper and pens that wrote white ink. I'm good with that. If I sponsor you, when you do your 4-step, you'll do it on black paper with white ink or on white paper with black ink or black pencil. And I think that's ridiculous and asinine, and I require it. And, and the reason is it's an attitude that I want to carry into this work. And I don't care what this thing says. I'm doing it. Because if I let myself off the hook on the smallest thing, it might been the one that would have saved my life. So let's take that attitude into this work. So now I need a list. There are 168 hours in a week. If he's got an 8-hour week job and a 30-minute commute, that's 45 hours gone out of his week. 8 hours a night of rest is 56 more. 14 hours a week for eating and preparing food. 4 hours to do your melon list. Honey, do this. You know the melon list. Honey, do this. Honey, do that. 5 hours for personal hygiene. 4 hours to go shopping and get a haircut. 4 hours for a date if you happen to be fortunate enough to still be sleeping in the big bed or maybe coach a little league team. 5 hours for recreation, round of golf. 14 hours for meetings. That includes a little drive time. 5 hours on the phone with me and some men whose names and numbers I will give you. You don't need to pick. I will pick for you, at least for now. 9 hours a week watching television. That's 3 ball games. That's enough, right, ladies? Yeah, okay. That's 165 hours gone out of his week, out of his 168. He got 3 hours left. I want half. I don't believe, this is just my, I don't believe the recovery from alcoholism should have a negative impact on any other aspect of your life. It should be dadgum inconvenient at times. So, and this is all negotiable on the front end. My experience has been I get reasons on the front end, I get excuses on the back end. Don't call me and tell me why you didn't do it. Call me before and tell me why you can't. If you mean it, if it's important enough to you to call me before and say I can't do, because my boss is coming in tomorrow morning on the early flight and I'm picking it up, we're going around, we're working 15-hour days through Friday. I can't work on my 4-step this week. You know what? I agree with you completely. You bet. Of course you can't. but tell me ahead of time. And I will let virtually anything go on the front end the first 2 or 3 times because he thinks it's important enough to call me. If we get a pattern going, then we're going to have to talk about it. And this doesn't bat 1,000, but it makes the all-star team. I get reasons on the front end, I get excuses on the back. I want 3 30 to 45-minute periods a week. I want you to schedule them. I want you to call me every Sunday afternoon. Let me know what the schedule is. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is not a schedule. Monday night, 9 o'clock to 9:45. That is a schedule. It's a day and a time. I want to know when you're going to work on your 4-step. Actually, I don't want to know. I want you to know. And like anything else on your schedule that's important is not subject to cancellation. It might get moved. You didn't know the kid had the Little League game Saturday afternoon at 2 when you had your 4-step scheduled. So you went to the Little League game, you slipped it till 7 that night. I don't even need a phone call on that. When I started to do my first alleged 4-step, I called it that because it was one of these guide things. I got to be careful. I gave myself the assignment of completing a 4-step. It puts me in perfect position to hate myself until it's done. I think it's a bad mindset. I think it's a much better mindset that my assignment is to work on the 4-step for the agreed upon period of time my sponsor and I have agreed to in a given week. And I can feel good about myself while I'm in process because I am in fact in process. And that's good enough. I think it's a better mindset. And I tell them too, I say, you have my permission to do a lousy 4-step. Just get in there and do a poor one. Because if you have to do it perfectly, you can't do it at all. And anything worth doing is worth doing poorly as you learn to do it. So let's get in there and do a lousy one. It's a good plan. We are not saving an alcove in Akron at the AA Hall of Fame for your 4-step. In addition to which, our home group does not give a trophy every year for the best 4-step, and this is the trophy that you are not going to get. If you're too far back and can't read it, it says 4-step trophy never awarded. This is the trophy you ain't getting. And you can have your picture made with this at lunch if you like. And I'll pose with you giving it to you, presenting you the trophy, and we'll take 2. One where I cover up the never awarded. All right. And then, anyway, if you want to play a little bit later, I've had this. I got to tell you the story of this. I had this wild hair. It's been way over 20 years ago. I walked into a trophy shop and I drew this thing. And I said, lady, this is going to be unusual. She looked at that and she said, are you a friend of Bill's? That's where this came from. I got a good buy on that. Anyway, that trophy's been all over the world. So if you want your photo made with it. But it's that I'm trying to make the mindset. You have my permission to do a poor one. So now we can go to work. And so the format on your 30-minute or 45-minute sessions is I want you to spend 5 minutes in prayer and meditation. Let's invite God into this process. I think the easy way is to work with a spiral notebook. White paper spiral notebook is kind of an easy way to operate. The inside front cover, you want to write something subtle like, this is my 4-step. If I find you with it, I will kill you and hide your body. Something subtle, but that carries your message. And then you protect it. Don't leave it laying around. As fast as I can get my hands on this 4-step, I give him his grade. You can see mine. It's a red F-. That's, again, Barkley got a 0- on his. It's all. Did he get 2 minuses? It was awful. It's part of the mindset, right? You're going to have to do this again anyway. Yeah, this is going to be terrible. And then you turn the page, and we're going to consider this to be one page. There's a spiral in the middle of it. You're going to write a 1 above the left-hand margin, a 2 in the center of the left-hand page, a 3 and a 4 split the right-hand page in half. We're going to do a 4-column inventory. This is how I understand it today. And you need to write the 1, 2, 3, 4 up there. Because if you start listing people, institutions, and principles with whom you were angry on the second page, we're not going to have room to do the rest of the work. So write 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've sat for a period of time and invited God into the process, and now we're going to spit them. I want you to write 1 name, skip 1 line, write 1 name, skip 1 line. The answer to the question is no, you can't save 15 pages for your father. And you can't list anybody more than once. You want to feed the resentment, and that's not what we're here to do. I had a woman from my home group a lot of years ago call me one Sunday night. She was crazy. And I said, what's the matter with you? She said, I had a fight with my boss on Friday, and I've been 4-stepping about it all weekend. No, she hadn't. She'd been hating him on paper. That's different from a 4-step. All right? So write a name, skip a line, write a name, skip a line. When you get to the bottom of the page, don't write on the bottom line. Turn the page, write 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep them coming. And I want them to just spit them. It's anybody, anything that has ever made you angry. And when they slow down, and I'm going to give you a couple of hints. All your family members, trust me, just put them down. Somebody told me the reason God gave us friends was to make amends for having given us family. So that might be right. And family members, there should be at least one church and some of its hierarchy, at least one major political party, some foreign governments, some teachers, right? Just whatever you can think of. And the rule is, when in doubt, write it out. If you're not sure, put it down. If it turns out to be a problem, if it turns out later it wasn't a resentment, you'll be out of about 4 or 5 seconds and a little bit of ink and paper. If it turns out later it was a resentment, you didn't put it down, it's going to destroy you. Which one of those penalties do you like? I'm kind of into the ink and a little bit of paper thing myself. So when in doubt, write it out. Just put it down. We need the list. When they slow down for him, I say, when you can sit for 60 seconds and not think of one, there's a description at the bottom of page 65. It says, we went back through our lives. So that indicates a reverse chronology. Going to begin with today. I live here. I live here with my beloved. This is where I work. This is my home group. This is my social activities. These are the people I know and the things that I do. But 5 years ago, I lived in, what was her name? And then before that, I was in the Air Force, and I was stationed here, and oh yeah, that is, and just go back through your life slowly. When in doubt, write it out. Turn the page, 1, 2, 3, 4, keep them coming, write a name, skip a line, don't write anybody more than once. When we get to your earliest memories, we are finished. Is it complete? Absolutely not. It doesn't need to be. Because from that point on, I'm going to ask you to carry writing materials, because you're going to be walking through the grocery store, you're going to look at the cantaloupe, say, his head looked exact, just write it down. We'll add it to the list. We've gotten to your earliest memory. We're now going to go to direction 2. We asked ourselves why we were angry. We look at the page 65, I'm resentful at Mr. Brown. The cause, his attention to my wife, told my wife of my mistress, Brown may get my job at the office. Clearly, Brown needs to have his ass kicked. I think everybody can see that. But if he will start with the word office and count backwards, the number of words under the cause, it's 19. Counting from the top down, you won't get them. You skip of and to. 19 words. Let's take a look at what Brown has done. He's messing with his wife. He's told his wife about his girlfriend. Thank you very much. And he's trying to get him fired. He got 19 words. And you can put 19 words from the name over to the spiral and on the full line below it, where you can 19 or fewer. 19 is not optimum, it's maximum. Contractions count as 2 words. Now, you may have someone that's done more to you than Brown here. And I'm talking to my sponsee now. I'm not talking to you. And I'm saying, if you've got someone that's done more than that to you, call me. We'll negotiate whether or not you can write the 20th word. But don't write it without talking to me. Now, I'll tell you, I've never given up the 20th word. I'll tell you the rest of it, too. Just from what you've seen so far, if I was sponsoring you, you wouldn't call me about that, would you? No. Well, they don't either. I've never had to deal with that. I've been doing this a long time. All right. So we're going to work down the page. I don't give them the first 2 directions. If I do, they'll work across. These are Americans. They don't work top to bottom. They work left to right. If you give them the first 3, they're going to, and there are 2 very good reasons to work vertically. The most important reason is that's what it said. It said a list, and lists run down the page. The second one is, it's been my experience, if I work across the page, it makes these resentments tend to flare. If I work vertically, it's much more analytical, and it doesn't tend to make them flare, and we don't want them to flare. We're going to dig them out of here. We're here to get rid of those bad babies. When he's completed the second column, we go to number 3, on a grudge list set up as his name, our injuries, was it our 5-part multiple choice, self-esteem, security, ambition, personal, sex relations. 5-part multiple choice, this is column 3. Some will get 1, some will get 2 or 3, some will get all 5. Some you may not be able to figure out. Do not give yourself a brain hernia trying to work this out. Call me, and I'll help you see why it was self-esteem. because on my first 23 of these things, self-esteem was the tall pole in the tent. The last two, it's been security. Kind of interesting, the changes. But typically for the newcomer, it's going to be the self-esteem. That's where most of that stuff comes from. And you would assume, as I did, that what comes after column 3 is column 4. And no, it's not. It is, for me, the reason that I agreed when Darren so graciously asked me to do this, is to share my experience with the things that happen between the 3rd and 4th columns. I think it's the most important work we do. It's where, as Jerry explained to me, we begin to dig the poison out of my soul. And that's really what these first 9 steps are about, is identifying and digging the poison out of my soul so that who I really am can emerge. I used to say that the alcoholic is like an electromagnet that's been dragged through the junkyard of life. And we got all this ragged, rusty, nasty, jagged, sharp stuff stuck all over us. It's mostly defenses we don't need anymore. And through the process of these 12 steps, we get a hold of the control of the power on this electromagnet. We begin to turn it down, and this stuff falls away. And this beautiful thing I've always really been emerges. We're not here to change me into anything. God Almighty was not having a bad day in the middle of a long losing streak when he created me or any of you. It didn't happen. I was wrong about that. Right? It didn't happen that way. And what I'm learning to do is to allow who this really is to emerge. The problem is that I never believed it was good enough. I believed all my life I was defective. I'm one of the broken ones. And I became an actor as a small boy, presenting to you the act that I think you want to see, because I know that if you can see through my act and see me like I see me, you'll think about me like I think of me, and I think I'm trash. And I think if a bunch of together people like you could see a defective model like me as I really am, you wouldn't want me around. And that belief ran my life. It was at the core of my being. It made all of my choices. Made all of my decisions. And I'm on yellow alert all the time. If I'm awake, I'm on yellow alert trying to hold up the right mask to be the right guy. I'm a different guy to everybody. And the greatest fear in my life is people from different segments of my life be at the same place, same time. What am I going to do if the guys from the pool room are in the same place as my religious friends? What guy am I going to be then? And I've been acting so long that by the time I get to you, I have no idea who I am. I do not know. And I think this process is about me evolving into who I've always really been, is to learning to lay down that stuff. And this 4th step is the beginning of the cutting away of who I'm not and who I will never be, and I never really was, and to allow me to emerge into who I really am. And I didn't know much about who I was. Didn't know. And it's okay not to know. I think it's important to be trying to find out. One of the things I thought I might like to do is I want to do pottery. I was sober 5 or 6 years. I want to do pottery. I want to sit at the wheel, and I wanted to do that for a couple of years. And I ran into a lady at a conference who owns one of our people owns a pottery shop in Kentucky. And I went up there and I sat at the wheel for a day, and I don't ever want to do that again. But I went up there and found out, and I didn't have to buy 2,000 pounds of clay and a kiln and a wheel to find out. And if you want to go camping, get with some of our people that camp. Don't buy out the LL Bean catalog. If you want to fish, call me and Darren. I mean, try it. It's okay. It's okay to try it, and it didn't work. See, I didn't know that either. I thought I had to do everything perfect. Like, I had to get it right. And it turns out it's important. It's not only okay for me not to know, it's important for me not to know. So I always thought it was not knowing that made me crazy. Incorrect. It was needing to know that was making me crazy. And isn't the 3rd step about me beginning to lay down my need to know? Isn't that what that's about? And as I lay down my need to know, I can begin to know